Yo, what's going on? This is your boy, Dre Berry, Fran 49er. Go ahead and press that like and subscribe. Go ahead and press that dislike if you do not like the content. Go ahead and comment. Do what you do. The platform is going to grow. Thank you for being here with us today. We got a special guest. You guys know him as Tony or NJ Niner, of MBN. And I'm going to bring my buddy on right now. JD, what's going on, bro? Hey, Tony, what's going on, my guy?
What's up? What's going on?
Oh, man, nothing much, man. Just relaxing, enjoying this sun. 90-degree weather for the last 3 days. It rains a shit ton in the Pacific Northwest, so I'm just happy that it's sunny. I don't give a damn. It could be 100. I'd rather have the heat than the cold any day, man. How you doing over there, bro?
Good, man. It's hot and humid. The heat index, I think, is 101 today.
What?
Yeah, it's hot. Yesterday was like 105. Today it's almost about – last I saw, I know it was over 100. I don't know if it hit 101, but yeah it's pretty brutal out here between the humidity, the heat. Ugh.
Yeah, that humidity is a different type of heat, man. You can't step outside without being soaked. It's ridiculous.
For sure.
Yeah, man. So we're gonna go over a few subjects today. It won't be super, in depth. The first thing I want to talk about is the NFL training camp schedule's been released. So the NFL is going to take 5 to 6 days of training and physicals, which is crazy. Like, I don't know that it takes that long to do fucking physicals and training. Then they're going to do walkthroughs from on day 12 to day 13. Then they're going to ramp up with helmets on the 18th through 19th. And then they're going to put pads on the 20th. So basically, these guys are going to put pads on the 20th, and they're going to have literally 21 days. You got to take away days for the weekend. So these guys probably have 17 or 18 days in pads, and then they're going to be playing full NFL schedule. It is ridiculous. The NFL PA president, he came out with some stats and said that in 2011, when they had the holdout year, there was a 44% uptick in Achilles injuries.
Yes.
And hamstring injuries doubled.
Yep.
And they had a lot more time in pads than, 17, 18, maybe 19 days. I think this is a huge mistake for the NFLPA. I think they're kind of kicking themselves in the ass. And it's sad to say, but you're going to see a lot of players that are of high standing that ends up getting injured and sitting out the whole season. And it's going to be because you guys waited to put on pads.
Yeah.
They should have went into training camp with helmets on, and then the second week put on the shoulder pads, and then third week it's full pads. Like, none of this holding back shit. How do you feel about that, bro? What do you think is the ultimate outcome for these guys only having maybe 20 days of in pads? It's crazy.
I definitely think it's going to hurt the team. I mean, listen, if you look, and I'm not just talking about the schedule that you brought up, they eliminated all the preseason games. Okay.
Right.
To me, that is an issue. I understand you want to cut it to 2. That's perfectly fine. You do 1, you skip a week, and then you do another one. That's fine. But the issue here is, if you look at the 49ers, the way they constructed their roster, the majority of the bottom end of the roster are undrafted free agents, street free agents from the AAF and all that stuff. And it really eliminates the team from doing that by not playing preseason games, because they're not getting to see these players in live game action versus another team. And, what's up?
No, go ahead. Yeah, I was talking to the fan.
No, it's okay. So with that being said, by them doing it, and I know damn well they're not going to go full go against each other. It's not going to be 100% contact. Exactly. There's no inter squad scrimmages.
Exactly.
So what kind of product? What is this team going to look like versus Arizona? Number one, and number two, how are they going to go about their cuts? Because normally this team always keeps between 1 and 3 undrafted free agents on this roster.
Yep.
So now, does it hurt the undrafted free agents? Does this hurt it by having no preseason? I think it kind of does. But I understand they're trying to play it safe. I do. And, I listened to Matt Mayoko, his podcast. He really broke it down, how the day one that they report, they get tested. They skip the second day. They go back on day 3. They get tested. They go back for quarantine. And if they're clear after 2 tests, they're able to go to the facility, get sized and fitted for pads and all that stuff, and then they continue into the program.
Right. Yeah, man. Okay. I don't. I think the last couple of days I've been sounding like a selfish asshole, right? But at the end of the day, it's like, everybody's talking about safety, but these guys have been training all off season with people who are not regularly tested. So what are we really talking about? Like, you're training to stay healthy, but at the same time, you're doing it for free. When you play, you're going to make millions. And you're going to be with guys who are tested at all times. So I really don't get like what was the problem. I didn't understand it. I think it has more to do with if these guys get the coronavirus, there's probably a clause in those contracts where they're not going to get, fully guaranteed money. They're not. Like, if you have the coronavirus and you have to sit out, you're probably not going to get paid. And I think it's more about that than it is anything else, right? Like, everything always comes back to money. We've seen that time and time again where, a situation happens and a player comes out and he makes a big fuss. And when you look at the deep root of the problem, it's always about the money. And I get it. Like, you're playing a sport where you're putting yourself and, your health at risk. But at the same time, it is a part of the game. And I think that it ultimately comes back to the money. You know what I'm saying? That money is not guaranteed if you are sick and you have the coronavirus and you're missing game checks. And when you miss a game check, that hurts because everybody thinks that when you sign a big contract, you're getting all of that money at one time. And that's not how it works, bro. That's not. You get a signing bonus and thereafter it's game check week by week. Everybody essentially is living paycheck to paycheck.
Correct.
Especially if you don't know what to do with your money. And there's a lot of guys in the NFL who don't know what the hell to do with their money. And since we're already on that subject, I wanted to talk about there's a new trend in the NFL with rookies, especially the first round draft picks. They are getting fully guaranteed contracts, right? Mm-hmm. So that means in the future, you have to be very smart with who you pick in the first round because these contracts are fully guaranteed. Just in the last 2 days, we've had Henderson, the cornerback that came from Florida. He got a $20 million contract, fully guaranteed. Yesterday, we had Mekhi Becton. He got fully guaranteed $18 million. Then we had Henry Ruggs today, fully guaranteed $16 million. This is a trend. It's going to happen. Other NFL agents are going to bring their guys in next year, and they're going to say, we want fully guaranteed money. Do you see this as a trend to where all of that money is going to be guaranteed for rookies getting drafted in the first round in the NFL?
I don't know, man. It seems like that's what it's going to be. It's not a trend. It just seems like that's the way the language is now for first-round picks. So, it's kind of like riding with the flow of the motion, if you will, because if Henderson, I think, was the first guy that did it, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah, he was the first.
And then today they announced Ruggs and Becton, and then they announced the running back from the Chiefs, Khalil Edwards, as well.
Oh, so, wow.
Yeah, I didn't get the verbiage on his contract. I just saw that, Chiefs agreed to terms with, rookie running back.
Yeah.
So it looks like that's the way they're going with it now.
Yeah, most definitely. And I don't have a problem with it. These guys make a lot of money. There was some talk today about the Cowgirls and Jerry Jones. Do you know, Tony, bro, he made $638 million off of 8 home games last season. That is an astronomical number. That's not including the TV money. No. That's not including jersey sales. That's just off of home games. That's the live gate and everything that the fans pay for while they're at the game.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That is a ridiculous amount of money. So I really don't, have a problem with these rookies coming in and saying, hey, we feel we're worth this. And we feel like our money should be fully guaranteed. I don't have a problem with that. I think it's very well warranted. Those new rookies are going to sell a lot of jerseys. They're going to bring a lot of fans to watch the games. They're going to sell a lot of tickets in the future. I think that it's a good thing for the rookies coming in. But that means you have to be very smart with who the hell you draft.
Correct.
You don't want to be stuck with the Solomon Thomas where his $9 million this year is fully guaranteed. That's a big dead cap hit. So you cannot release this guy. You're not going to get anything back. You're going to pay all of that money to him while he's sitting at home or while he gets picked up with another team, and he's getting a double contract for one season. That is crazy. So you have to be smart with who you pick.
It is.
Yeah, most definitely.
That's funny that you said that. What Jerry Jones brought in last year for Dallas. Now, he's not bringing that in this year if they're not putting fans in the stadium.
Not at all. I don't know exactly what they're going to be called because they're going to be selling like the first couple of rows of the seats to companies where they could market their products.
Yeah, advertisement.
Yeah, so I don't know what those prices are going to be. Hopefully it brings in some money, but I don't think that it's going to be $638 million. You know what I mean? No. Maybe it could possibly be $100 million. You know, that'll lessen the dent that they take, but it's not going to be all of that. You're not going to have nobody buying beer. You're not going to have nobody buying food. It's going to be a crazy season, man. And I just hope that everything works out for the better, especially when it comes to the salary cap next year, because that is going to be deadly for a lot of teams.
Yeah.
You know, how do you think they're going to work that out? Like, are there just going to be a lot of top name free agents that aren't able to sign? Like, how is the league going to stay competitive and they're not going to have any money to sign people? Like, how is it going to work out?
I think, honestly, that's the whole problem now with Kittle. And I'm not only going to keep it with the 49ers, I'll keep it with like other teams that are coming up with players that are coming up on free agent year, the final years of their deals. These teams don't know what to sign him to, what kind of deal to sign him to. Because you don't know, like you see reports the cap dropping $70 million this year or next year. Like, so how do you project going forward? Like, listen, all right, we can allocate this much next year, but that's it. If we do this, he's the guy and that's it. Yeah. So, but I just think that is the major holdup with the 49ers as far as like extending everybody, as far as like your Trent Williams, your Shermans, your Kwan Williams, and Kittle. So until they get some more clear specifics and going forward, which I don't know if they're gonna, they have to keep it the way it is, because honestly, I wouldn't want to shell out $15 million over 4 or 5 years, and then all of a sudden you got a phone call saying, "Yeah, you remember your $200 million cap? It's down to 150. Fix it, figure it out."
Exactly.
Holy shit, figure it out. You got to start cutting people.
Right, exactly. And there's going to be a lot of people that's out of work, and a lot of teams that have been in competition for that title, they're going to take a dramatic step back. I feel like teams like the Kansas City Chiefs, who just said, "Fuck it, we're going to do it. We want to keep this team together," might be a problem. And I think that a lot of fans need to like really take a chill on the pay George Kittle hashtag. Like, the Niners want to pay him, but they don't know what the future holds. That's the only thing that is getting in between us signing George Kittle right now, is they do not know what the next season holds. If anything, they're doing something smart. Nobody can sit on here and tell me that, that franchise does not want to re-sign George Kittle. Of course they want to re-sign George Kittle. He's the best freaking tight end in the world. Like, who wouldn't want to re-sign him? But you have to be logical and say, "George, we want to sign you, but we want to know what the particulars are when it comes to the salary cap next season." That's all we want to know, and we'll get your deal done. But for right now, we can't do it, because if we pay you and end up having to cut some people that we feel like we need on this team with you to be successful, then really what are we doing, right? We just gave you a big contract, to play by yourself? That makes no sense. Like, we want to have the pieces around you for the team to be successful, right? It's like a team aspect. This isn't basketball, right? You can't just have 2 or 3 guys and go to championships. Like, that's what basketball is famous for. You got 2 or 3 good guys, really good guys, elite guys. You can go and win championships for a long time. This is football, buddy. This is a collective. All 22 have to be good for you to win a championship.
Yep.
So that's what I think is really holding the 49ers back from signing George Kittle. Now, this is a subject that I've always wanted to touch on. Tom Brady versus Joe Montana. Right? Everybody thinks, there's some people out there that think Tom Brady is really better than Joe Montana. So I want to get to that. So for people who don't know much about the NFL, how they structure the conferences, people forget The AFC East had the Colts. Peyton Manning run on that 2-year run. They restructured the conferences and they sent the Colts packing. What was left? You had the Bills, you had the Dolphins, you had the Patriots, you had the Detroit Lions, right?
No, Jets.
Oh, the Jets, right? Even worse, right? So they gave Tom Brady a break, right? That was their golden boy. 6th-round draft pick, came out of Michigan. Mm-hmm. Nobody ever thought that he was going to be that good, right? I'm going to name some other things that takes away from this game. The tuck rule game. We've never heard of the tuck rule. We didn't hear about it until, he got sacked by Woodson in the snow, and then they called this bullshit tuck rule that we have never heard of. The second thing, Deflategate. The guy deflates balls against the Colts, the team that got kicked out of the division, and he smashes his cell phone. The NFL wanted to go over his damn cell phone and see what he was talking to the ball boys about, and he smashes his cell phone. If you're not guilty, why would you smash your cell phone, Tom? He's a phony goat. Then the taping the practices. We don't know how long that shit was going on before they got caught, right? It just happened this past season. They lost the draft pick, and I think they got fined like $1 million. It was like something small. It was something petty. Like I think it should have been more than what they lost. Also, you have the easiest division in football for 20 years. That disqualifies him to me from being the quarterback GOAT. I don't even think he's the best football player of all time compared to Jerry Rice. He's not. You know what I mean? Like I just don't get it. How do you feel about comparing Tom Brady to Joe Montana, and who do you think is actually better?
I'm a Joe Montana guy. Okay, the league, in my opinion, games were called a lot different than they were back then compared to today with Brady. The offensive game plans were different. Heavy run games, better defenses, bigger physical, not as fast, right. But the game has changed since when Joe played to compare to when in the heart of Tom's career, going towards the end of it. So with all them like negativities you just said, with all the deflate gates and this and that, spy, whatever you want to call it, that kind of puts like a mark on him, like a little asterisk next to a 6-time Super Bowl champ, in my opinion. So I just think the game is totally different today. And if Montana played in this era, this style of game, I think it would have been different.
Right. He'll throw for 6,000. And this is another one that I forgot. Agent Most, thank you for this. He said one of his Super Bowl wins also came from Pete Carroll not giving a damn ball to Marshawn Lynch on the goal line.
Facts.
There's so much that you could touch on with Tom Brady if you look at his career and what he had to go through and how he was helped by the league. I forgot another one. You can't hit below the knee no more. As soon as he tore his ACL, when he got hit below the knee, what happened the year he came back?
That's right.
They made a rule that's saying you cannot make contact with a quarterback, if it's below his knee, or you'll get called.
Correct.
You'll get called for a personal foul and possibly get kicked out of the game. Mm-hmm. You can't even land. You can't even land with your full weight on the quarterback no more. Yep. So it's an entirely different game. This is not just because I'm a Niner fan. It's just Tom Brady is not as good as Joe Montana.
And if you look at the skill set and the height, weight measurements and the speed of today's game, right? Back then, your biggest offensive lineman with Montana, I think Harris Barton was like 6'4", 285. I know Steve Wallace was a bigger tackle. And if he was 305, that was a lot. You got guys 330, 315, 325. You know what I'm saying? Speed is a lot faster. So I think because of that, like I'll give you a perfect example. Emmitt Smith. I know you don't like talking about the Cowboys, but Emmitt Smith, I think I could have ran behind that offensive line. I think you could have ran behind that offensive line. So it's like a night and day difference in styles of play.
Right.
From Montana's era compared to Brady's era. And I know there's tons of Brady people out there. Oh, Tom's the best. He's the GOAT. Yeah. Well, I'm not discrediting him. He is a good quarterback. He's a very good quarterback.
Good.
But I still think Montana takes the bread, takes the win. So it is the winner. So
yeah, period point play. And Asante Samuel, Willie McGinnis, Rodney Harrison,
Vince Wilfork. Come on,
bro. He had
Law.
Oh my! On what is this ridiculous, bro? Like he had so many, great players and Hall of Famers on his team. It's just ridiculous, bro. Like it's just no comparison. So this
before you go, the most important name you didn't forget was Bill Belichick.
Right.
Okay, who specializes in taking away the offensive's top target and making them beat you in other ways.
Exactly.
Where Bill Walsh, on the other hand, was to attack your weakness and try to have your weakness beat me.
Right.
So different philosophies, different sides of the ball. So
yeah.
Yeah,
and that's one thing that people forget about Bill Belichick. Like he was the defensive coordinator with the Giants when they had those great defenses, when they had Phil Simms and Lawrence Taylor, right? Like he actually played he actually beat the 49ers a few times when he was coaching with them, right? So, people forget that. He has a very long catalog of successful years of being a defensive coordinator.
Belichick single-handedly won that NFC Championship game.
He did.
You throw what's his name at that fumble. It is what it is. He did fumble the ball, Roger Craig.
Right.
It is what it is.
Right.
But Belichick single-handedly beat the Niners by changing his scheme.
Yep.
Instead of going with man, I think he sat in his own and took away the slants and the alternate routes, whatever route tree they were running at the time. I don't remember. Well, I do, but I wasn't involved in it.
Yeah.
But you got to create. Belichick is a freaking genius, man. And I'll stand by it. And I'll say he's one of the top coaches, if not the top 2, 3. And I'm talking all the way back to Lombardi.
Right.
Like
there's no way you can't say he isn't, bro. Like, even as much as like you hate him, that he would cross the line and do whatever it takes to win. You know what I'm saying? You know that he cheated, but the motherfucker is a great coach. Yeah. I will never say that. Like just like the same thing with Tom Brady. I will never say that he's not a great quarterback. Yeah. He's just simply not the best. He's just not.
And I personal opinion, I think he's heavily involved with the offensive game plan. I think he's sitting down with Josh McDaniels saying, okay, this is what you're going to attack. You scheme up a game plan and attack this way.
Right.
Because he knows defenses. He knows the weakness. He sees it. The guy's a defensive genius, but everyone's so quick to jump on Josh McDaniels. Look what happened to him in Denver when he was separated.
He came back crawling and crying to Belichick. That motherfucker did a reverse pivot real quick. I was like, damn, it was that quick, Josh? Like, what happened? He was supposed to be like the next best thing. Like, they were talking about him like they talked about Kyle, when he became a head coach. Like, Josh McDaniel was like going to be the next the next best thing. They started talking about it like 2 years before he was even able to negotiate with other teams to become a head coach. So he definitely, fell on his face and he came back crying to Bill Belichick. Okay, we're gonna go to the next subject. This subject might not. There might be some people watching who don't like this subject. I totally respect that. I feel like it's something that needs to be talked about. The social justice decals. The NFL just agreed that players will be able to have social justice decals on their helmet. And when the article was released, there was a lot of comments. You've seen a lot of people's true colors, and they didn't even read the damn article. You can choose your cause on what you want to represent and what you want to bring, what you want to bring awareness to, right? So it doesn't just have to be something for Black Lives Matter, or it doesn't have to be somebody who died, at the hands of law enforcement. It could be, a law enforcement officer who passed away himself. You know what I mean? Like you could bring awareness to whatever issue that you want to bring awareness to. And I don't have any, issue with that. I feel like everybody's different. Everybody deserves to have, their opinion, and, that should be respected. Civilization is not about how well we agree. It's about how well we disagree. And, I just wanted to, see how you feel about that and, what's your thoughts about that.
Listen, I have no problem putting a decal on your hat for what you stand for, on your helmet, not your hat. Sorry, on your helmet for what your beliefs. I mean, they do it for what do they call that? Oh my God, charities that like if it's
with the pink.
Like the military month where it's support the troops. It is what it is. That you have your right to put it on there. I mean, it's probably not going to be like a little sticker on the back of the helmet.
Right.
I mean, it is what it is.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with it. You have your right to speech and say how you feel and what your beliefs are. It's just like, there's ways of going about it the right way, which is just putting a decal on your hat. And then there's wrong ways to go about it, which, unfortunately it's happened a couple times in today's world. But I don't have a problem with it. I don't.
I feel like
that's what it is. He got it. My cause, my cleats.
My cause, my cleats. Right. So they've already basically done it, right? It's not something that's new. They're just, letting it be known that they're allowing the players to do it, and there won't be any retribution or any problems from the NFL from it, right? Mm-hmm. And people always want to say sports and politics should be separated, right? And it's never fucking been like that. You can go back to in the Olympics where their gold medals were taken away because they put up the black fist. They put up the fist after they won the gold medal, and they took it away from them from doing that. You can go back to Muhammad Ali. Like, sports and politics have never been divided. They've always been together, right? Mm-hmm. Because these are American sports, and I feel like American sports and politics, like they've kind of have always went together. And I think that people need to get away from that. Well, you have to separate the two. No, this is a huge stage. Everybody tunes in to NFL football, to MLB, to NHL, to NBA. These are huge platforms. So I feel like it's a way to say, hey, we come together to watch the sports, and now we can have these subjects that we might feel are uncomfortable. But look, these guys are talking about it, so why can't we talk about it, right?
Yeah.
Like, no issue never gets solved unless you have those discussions. And I just think that it's time for us as Americans to just finally sit down and start saying, hey, I might not agree with your ideology, but at least let's have a conversation about it and come to an understanding why you believe certain things that you believe.
Correct.
There's nothing wrong with that, man. Like, we can't just say like, okay, I'm with this group and you're with that group, and fuck you because you don't think like me. That's so childish to me.
Yeah.
That's so childish to me. Like, we could disagree, but at least sit down and have that open dialogue and that conversation to where we say, I don't agree with you, but now that I have a conversation with you, I understand why you feel that way, and I respect why you feel that way. And you're my fellow brother, you're my fellow sister, and I wish you well. And it's okay to be who you are. That's what I feel, could possibly happen from this. Yeah. So I thought it was just something that was a topic to bring up. Raheem Mostert, he backtracked real quick, Tony. That trade request lasted for about a good 7 days, bro.
When this happened, I was on the show with Mike and everybody, and Wayne and Nick, and I flat out told them, and I can get roasted for this, but I honestly think the agent dropped the ball and the agent panicked because of what's going on. All right, his agent last year negotiated this extension.
Yep.
What the hell is that? This extension for Mostert to return to the 49ers. He signed off on it, and Raheem Mostert signed off on it.
Yep.
Cool. Listen, they paid him a little more for being an excellent special teamer. That's fine. He's really good. He's probably the best gunner, the best special teamer in the league.
Hell yeah.
And the Niners saw something in the previous season before they gave him this extension. And before he broke his arm, first, I think it was the Raiders on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, that forearm was nasty. That was bad.
Yeah, so he was carrying the ball a little bit more often, and
he was.
You noticed it was starting to pick up. So the Niners saw something. They said, "Okay, yeah, we'll give you this, but we're going to try you to do this. We're going to give you a little more carries and see how you handle it."
Yeah.
Fine. They signed the extension. On the extension, there's no guarantees past 2019, and well, bingo. Thank you, JD. He lost his leverage.
Exactly.
The minute his agent went to the national media, Twitter, whatever, Facebook, whatever, and said, after numerous times sitting down with the Niners to try to come up with an extension, no, not an extension, to get Raheem money, we're asking for a trade.
Right.
Let's see. You're asking for a trade after the first year of a deal that you just negotiated for your client and came to terms with the NFL team that he's playing for.
Exactly.
The way I see that, it's your fault he has no guarantees. You negotiated the contract.
Yeah.
So now, not the agent, Raheem Mostert comes out and says, I reached out to the Niners to clear the air.
Right.
So what's the deal between him and the agent? His agent's saying this and Mostert's doing this. So did Mostert even want the trade? Or did his agent, say, all right, listen, we got to try to get money. I got to try to do something. So I'm going to ask for a trade for Raheem Mostert. Now, let's look at that side of it. Raheem Mostert's 28. He's been on 6 teams, been cut from all 6 teams. His 7th team was the 49ers. And this is his first year he really had that big success.
Yep.
So now, what's the problem here? You know what I'm saying? Yep. All of a sudden now you want this, you want that, you want this. I also think it had to do something with COVID because there's no guarantees. And like you said earlier in the show, checked it week to week, you get paid.
Right.
So if there's no season, he don't get paid. And now he's having a second kid. So how is he going to support his family?
Yep.
So now it's all coming into effect here. His agent, in my opinion, I think he didn't do the right thing with this contract. And I don't think he should have went to the national media. He's 28 years old, in Kyle's system. He exploded in Kyle's system. And now he wants to trade at 28. He wants an extension. So what team's going to trade for a 28-year-old, then give him an extension or rework the language of his contract?
Exactly.
And now, wait a second. This is the only team he had success with.
Right.
So
exactly.
even if you do get a team that says, yeah, you know what? We'll take a flyer on him. We'll give you a 2021 7th rounder. At that point, if I was the Niners, I'd be like, you know what? This is what we're going to do. Your base salary, I don't know off the top of my head, $1.5 million this year. We'll guarantee you $1.5 million. Sign, and we'll take care of it.
Exactly. That and so Stephanie Carroll was on yesterday. She's still a lawyer, but she was a writer for the 49ers. She was also a lawyer for the players. So anytime it came time to negotiate a contract with NFL teams, she was the one that would go down and break down the players' injuries, let the NFL teams know what could possibly happen, the recovery time and all of that crap, and why these players were still valuable, right? And she said that she looked at Raheem Mostert's contract, and he's already been paid $3.5 million, Tony. That's not including his bonuses for going to the Super Bowl.
I know.
So it's not like you're broke, Raheem. Like, bro, do people understand? Like, some people work their entire lifetime and they don't make $1 million. Like, you made 3.5 in 1 year, bro. Like, every 4 games you're making $1 million. Like, I don't understand it, man. And even if you get traded, are there going to be a lot of teams who are going to give you a contract extension? I'm sorry, Raheem, they're not. The best thing that we could do is possibly guarantee the rest of his contract because it already counts against the cap.
I would tell him I would guarantee this year, and that's
I would guarantee his contract and say, okay, we can't give you any more money, but we'll guarantee your contract.
Just a quick thing, and something that's really pissing me off. I don't mean to cut you off and go off track.
Oh, it's all good, bro.
I'm so sick and tired of hearing people say the 49ers are cheap.
Right.
I'm so tired of it. I really am. And if this COVID thing didn't happen, we wouldn't even be talking about this right now.
We sure wouldn't.
This would have been handled. But the reason why everything's at a standstill is because of this, is because of what's going to happen next year. They don't know. Right. They don't even know if this season's going to go through. Right. So everything's at a holding point because no one wants to say, here, we'll do it. And then say, oh, no, I have to cut somebody. Right. You don't want to be in that position.
Yep.
like what the Chiefs did. Like, I don't know how the hell the Chiefs gave those 2 deals out and only have $176 in cap space. So that's beyond it. But whatever. I back to my point of people saying the 49ers are cheap. The 49ers are not cheap because if the 49ers were cheap, they would have kept all these bum-ass coaches that they went through instead of hiring, getting rid of Harbaugh, whatever. Then they brought in Jim Tom Sula. They cut him after 1 year. They're still paying him for the duration of his contract. Then they brought in Chip Kelly. They got rid of him. Still paid him through his duration of the contract.
Right.
Then they bring in Kyle and John. They give him big 6-year deals. They extend Kyle this year, give him more money. That's not cheap. They gave Jimmy Garoppolo year 1 of his contract $40 million. That's not cheap. I understand they had the cap space to do it, but that's not cheap.
Yeah.
All right. Trent Williams did not play last season. They traded for him to fill in Joe Staley's spot as a Pro Bowl left tackle and probably one of the most talented tackles in the league.
Yep.
And they said, you know what, Trent? We're going to do the right thing. You didn't make money last year. Your contract's not guaranteed this year. We're going to take your 12.5 and flip it to fully guaranteed. That's not cheap.
Right.
Just because they're not going out and saying, yeah, what do you want? 18 million? There you go. 18 million. It doesn't work like that.
It doesn't.
Back in the day when the Niners used to have those crazy off seasons when they were not good, I'm not even talking about the Super Bowl year. They went out one season, and I remember clear as day because I used to cut out all the newspaper articles and save them.
Yeah.
They signed Gabe Wilkins from the Packers, who was supposed to be the next Reggie White. Antonio Langham from the Cleveland Browns.
I remember that.
If Cleveland's moving on for you, there's something up with you.
Right.
Winford Tubbs from the Saints.
Yeah.
Big money. Years before that, Jonas Jennings probably played one out of 3 years that he was with the Niners. He probably played one complete season. Nate Clemens, they made him the highest paid football player.
80 million.
Corner.
80 million. And that was back then.
That's not cheap.
Yeah.
It's just this team is being smart. All right. They're trying to keep this nucleus together. They can't hand out contracts like that no more. They sucked back then. They overpaid to bring people in. And now they're finally hitting on their picks, and they got to keep this nucleus together. And that's the way it works. It's not being cheap. It's being a smart business and running your organization. I know there is a little thing with Parag and the structure of his deals with big players where some of the agents don't want those opt-outs after 2-3 years where, Parag has a job to protect the team.
He has a job. That's his job, bro.
But sometimes you got to take an L. You can't win all the time.
No.
Sometimes you got to sacrifice when you're dealing with a Kittle type player.
Right.
What do you think Nick Bosa is going to ask for?
130 at least.
So
he's better. I don't care what nobody say. He's better than Myles Garrett.
Yeah. The thing is, it's just like Parag could be stubborn from what I'm reading and hearing. Like he could be stubborn. He always wants to win. He goes in. This is the way he wants it. Blah 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 blah. They're saying that's why they moved on from Buckner because the agent wouldn't do that type of contract what the Niners normally do.
Bullshit.
No, I don't care what anyone says. Buckner's a great player. I can't play a 3 technique. I can't pay a 3 technique over $20 million when you have all these talented players on your team. Look what happened to the Rams. It's perfect. It's clear evidence. They gave Goff that huge contract. They gave Gurley a huge contract. They gave Cooks a huge contract. They gave Darnold a huge contract. And guess what? They have no draft picks. They have minimal cap space.
Tony, they haven't had a first-round draft pick for the last 4 years, bro.
Exactly.
4.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
That's not how you manage a rock. That's not how you manage your franchise.
No.
I understand, fuck it, let's go all in. Let's try to get this one.
Yeah.
It didn't work. And now they have a guy that they traded 2 first-round picks for.
Yeah.
Jalen Ramsey.
And they can't even pay him.
And he's a free agent next year.
Right. They can't even pay him. Insanity is when you continue to do the same thing and expect different results. It's all good, bro. Insanity is when you do the same thing and expect different results, right? You cannot continue to do the same thing and expect different results. And what the Niners did was they learned from all of those huge contracts, from all those guys. I mean, Tony even went back to Nate Clemens. He got an $80 million contract. People, this was back in 2010, 2011. This was a long time ago, right? And so they learned from all of those mistakes that they made, and they said, we're not going to do this no more. If you look at the Rams, between Cooks, between Todd Gurley, and between Clay Matthews, they are paying $22 million in dead cap space just for those three guys. You got Cooks, he has $15 million in dead cap. You got Gurley, he has $5 million in dead cap, and you have Clay Matthews, which he had a $2 million bonus because he made, he did some things that they wanted him to do, and he made his bonuses. They couldn't even pay his $2 million bonus. That's $22 million in dead cap. We do not want to be that team where you have three players that you're paying $22 million to, and they're not on the team anymore. Like, that is just so ridiculous, right? And I agree with you. JD just said something, bro. Hold on, let me go back.
I saw it, and I agree with it.
Oh, I think he said people who say that the Niners are cheap are casual fans, and I totally agree with that. I don't know, bro. It feels like every time we become a good team, there are these fans that you don't know where they came from, and they just come out of nowhere, and they talk like they know everything about 49ers history, and they don't know a damn thing about 49ers history because they're not diehard fans. Period, point blank.
No, you're 100% right. And I also like his comment at 439. He put Kinlaw as a better fit than Buckner. May not be a better player, but a better fit. I agree with that. Okay?
Right.
Kocurek is a high-intensity guy. Look at this kid. Would you get down? I'm not going to the hospital again. Sit down. So with that being said, I do agree with that. I do think his style fits Kocerek's style, what he's looking for in the front four. But I'm not saying he's a better player than Brighton. But again, this is all going back to this. It's the name thing. You got to keep your nucleus together. And hold on one second.
It's all good, bro. It's all good. Hey, this is what fathers do. Y'all see me yesterday? I was yelling at my nephew and my son because they was too loud. Like, this is what happens. You know what I'm saying? Tony is a 24-hour father, bro. That's what he does, and we definitely have to respect that at Niners all day. You know what I mean? It's there. That's the only thing that I hate. So you know what? When we weren't good, what I did love about it is you knew who were true 49ers fans, right? Like, we knew who were true 49ers fans. And then as soon as you get good, you have all of these bandwagon-ass fans. Like, I live in Portland, right? Pacific Northwest, right? It's an hour and a half away from Seattle. You know where all their fans are going to be. There were years where I did not see one lime green fucking jersey. As soon as Seattle started to win, there were lime green and blue jerseys everywhere, right? And that's the thing about the faithful. When we get good, we get these fans that come out of nowhere that are not true fans. They're casual fans, bro. They watch when you win, and then they shit on you when you lose.
Exactly.
There's a So I was talking like 2 shows ago. I was saying that as a 49ers fan, I feel like we suffer from a sickness, right? And it's called small sample size syndrome, right? Where we see these guys for one season, they have one good season, bro, or maybe not even a whole good season, like a stretch of like a good 8 games, kind of like Raheem Mostert, right? And they just grow these humongous emotional attachment to these players, right? And I just don't understand it. Like, I am emotionally attached to the 49ers, right? But I'm not emotionally attached to these players. There's only a few professional players that I've ever been emotionally attached to. And I'll talk about one story with one player. His name is Steve Young. When I seen him win that Super Bowl in 1994, when I can actually really comprehend the game and understand the game of football, it's one of the best feelings I ever had. He threw 4 touchdowns that game. Ricky Waters went out of his mind. It was just a beautiful day for me, right? And when I grew even closer to Steve Young is that last play of his career when that asshole Aeneas Williams blindsided him and gave him his last concussion, and he could never return to the game. I remember it like it was yesterday. It was game on Fox. We were playing at home at the Stick, and Aeneas Williams blindsided him from the backside, and he hit him, and Steve Young never touched the football field again. If I ever seen Aeneas Williams to this day, like, I would literally want to cuss him out. He'd probably break my neck, right? You know what I'm saying? It's Aeneas Williams. But I hate him until this day. With that being said, people have grown emotional attachment to players like Raheem Mostert and especially Dre Greenlaw. He announced the day before yesterday that he might not be playing, right? Then today, now that they're talking about the protocols have been talked about, he says, I'll be on the next thing smoking. All I need is one call. And you see all of these people like talking about Dre Greenlaw like it's the end of the world if he doesn't play. Why do you think that is, Tony? Because he's a good player, but do I think that he's somebody that if he sits out will lose 2 or 3 games because he's not there? No, I don't. I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Listen. I mean, it's tough. All right. If you have like a wife at home that's pregnant, you don't really, God forbid, want to bring that into your environment, into your home. If it's, let's say, if it's there, the COVID I'm talking about. But I mean, now on the other hand, this is your job. You got to make money. You got to pay the bills. Now, I understand it being cautious because, like, I had to be cautious with it until I realized what the hell was going on, and it's blown out of proportion. But I'm not saying there is no virus. There is a virus, but there's a certain thing going on with the numbers in these hospitals.
Yeah, absolutely. But
right.
You just, I don't want to get into that, but
let's keep that before off camera.
You just got to be careful. That's all I'm going to say. And if you feel like Buster Posey, for the San Francisco Giants, they just adopted 2 kids. I think we both had immune deficiencies. So in a situation like that, you got to ask yourself, is it worth it? Or do I have enough money in the bank to say I'm going to sit out this year because I don't want to bring this home to kids that are immune deficient? So, it's really tough. It really is a tough situation. There are people that are scared shit about this disease, about this virus. But, it's tough, man. It's tough. It's really a tough position to be in. You want to do the right thing for your family, but you also want to do the right thing with your employer. And you want to make money.
Exactly. And, David Yang, I appreciate that comment because as soon as Dre Greenlaw tweeted that, I believe, was it yesterday or the day before? I don't know. I can't remember.
It was 2 days ago.
Okay. When he tweeted that, I retweeted him, and I said, good, because Joe Walker and Al-Shaair will happily take those snaps. And people might think that I was an asshole for saying that. But you know what? This is the NFL, bro. This is the NFL. Next man up. It's always been a part of the damn game. It is the next man up. And I will be happy to see Joe Walker and Al-Shaair get those snaps because they're going to cherish that moment and they are going to play the game. I think sometimes it's like the NFL is more corporatized these days. Like, it's not just about the game no more. It's about so many other things, and I feel like it takes away from the game. And these guys don't understand that. Do they know that there's people that will literally kill somebody to be in their position? Like, they forget that. And it's not like Dre Greenlaw has been in the league for a long time. Like, bro, you should be cherishing this. Like, you're in your prime, bro. Like, if you sit out and Joe Walker goes out and balls out, they're not going to re-sign you, bro. They're not. You're going to be a year away from football. They're not going to know if you're in shape or not. If after you sit out the game for a year, you're not going to be the same guy. You're not, right? And so I just don't get it. I just don't understand it, man. It's like you can go outside to the grocery store. You can go to your mailbox and you can contract the coronavirus. Playing football, if you're around a group that is controlled, that is tested on a regular basis, you're at a less of a risk than you are just going outside and doing the things that you need to do. Go to the grocery store, gas station, the bare essentials, going to get a haircut, all the things we do as human beings, you can get the coronavirus and you're not in a controlled environment. So what is the big freaking deal?
Yeah. No, you're right.
So
100% right.
Yeah, I thought that was something that we should touch on. Let's see here. Got to touch on this. Peter King. He was on the radio show 3 days ago, and he came out with a report and said that Deebo Samuel is going to be out till possibly October. And I love the clap back by Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel said, "You cannot believe everything you hear in the media. Nobody can put a time limit on my return from my injury, especially if they don't see the workouts that I'm already putting in to get back healthy." How do you feel about that, Tony? And how do you feel about these guys like Peter King, who is very respected? He's a damn journalist, right?
Yeah.
But stop putting out these stories where you have no proof to back it up.
Here's the thing with Peter King. Peter King's very, very connected. And I think he's very connected within the inside of the 49ers organization. Remember, their first year, he sat in their draft room. No one knew about it until after the draft, where he broke down how things went, how they worked together. He was actually in that draft room with Kyle and John their first year.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So,
whoa.
It's kind of like when he says something about the 49ers, you kind of got to stop and listen to it, and then you take your twist to it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm not saying it's 100% true. I'm not saying it's 100% false, but, you know, there could be a little truth for it. But the way Deebo bounced back and snapped back and shot it down, I'm kind of thinking, like, you know, it could be a little blown out of proportion because, you know, I've been seeing videos with him working out.
Yeah.
He's grinding, bro.
Yeah. He's trying to get back right. He's definitely grinding. And I look at it like this. The first 4 games, we have the Cardinals, we have the Eagles, we have the Jets, we have the Giants, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not that tough of a stretch. So let's just say he was to come back in October and he misses those first 4 games. I think we could still be 4-0 without Deebo Samuel. Will the offense look a little bit different? Yeah, it will. He definitely adds a dynamic to the offense.
Yes.
But I don't necessarily see it as a bad thing. I'll tell you this. I would much rather have Deebo Samuel in that stretch where we have to face the Rams, the Seahawks, the Saints, the Saints, the Patriots, and the Rams, Seahawks, Packers, Saints, and then who in the Patriots. So that's a 5-game stretch. Right? Last year they said we had the gauntlet. Shit, we got another one this season. It seemed like the NFL like puts us through these like late season gauntlets where it's gonna make or break us. Like, is it just me or is that like?
No, you're 100% right. And another thing I would like to ask the NFL: why do we have to play New Orleans every year in New Orleans?
We ain't. The last time I remember us playing.
Take the playoff game away.
Okay, all right, take that away. So before that, when was the last time we played the Saints at home, bro?
I really don't know.
That's crazy. It has to be at least 8 years because the playoff game. So the playoff game was what? Was that 2000? That was 2011, right?
That was with that was Jim Harbaugh, Alex Smith. Yes, 2011. Their first year.
2011. So that's 9 years ago. So damn, it's probably been like 10 years since we played the Saints.
Well, wait, it's the season of 2011. That was 2012 because it was a playoff game.
Oh, okay. This playoff game is 2012. But I mean, shit, 2000. That's an 8-year. Like, when do they switch it up? Like when, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how does I would really like to, and I think I'm gonna do some investigation on that and try to see exactly how long do they have spans of teams playing at the opposite team's field until they switch it up and it goes back to the other team's home field, because this shit is getting out of hand. We've been playing in New Orleans for a very long time, and it always comes in the part of the season where it's going to be a make or break game where it probably decides the conference. And that is a huge deal. And yo, what's going on, buddy?
Say what's up.
What's up?
What's up, man? Go Niners.
Go Niners.
All right, let's be careful, bro.
Go Niners.
Why are you soaking wet, you knucklehead? All right, go upstairs. I'll be right up. We'll play with the Play-Doh. Go. All right, get your little butt up there.
Yeah, bro. So, you know, I'm definitely going to look into that and try to see exactly when We are going to go back to New Orleans, man, because this is getting crazy. It's at the hour mark, bro. Like, if you got to do daddy duty, bro, it's totally fine, bro. I totally understand. You my guy. So, we talk on the
Yeah, I got to do daddy things.
It's all good, bro. I always appreciate you coming on. I'm happy that the little guy is feeling better. I'll just check in on you later. See how he's doing.
Yeah, definitely. Set something up. I'll come on again, but we got to do that night when this one's when he's sleeping.
Yeah. Let's. I'll contact you tonight, and we'll see when is your next day off this coming up week, and we'll do it in the evening time at like 5 or 6.
Definitely.
So it'll be like 8 o'clock, and that'll be like around the time where he probably starting to settle down.
Perfect.
All right, bro. I'll talk to you later.
Right. No doubt, Trey.
All right. Peace. Yeah, man. So Tony has daddy duties, man, and we have to respect that. Love Tony. That's my guy. So we talked about a lot of stuff today, right? And I don't want anybody to ever think that I'm just a heartless guy and I don't think about the health of the players. I always think about the health of the players. I once played football a time in my life. It was my life. I played football when I was 7-year-old. I remember when I first started playing, there was a 10 to 12 group, right? And it was in Pee Wee football. I was 7 years old. Somehow, my grandfather wouldn't talk to my coach. It was my first coach ever, and he told him, I know he's not going to get on the field, but at least let him play so when he gets of age, he'll be a pretty good player, right? And so I started playing at 7 years old, getting tossed around, right? It was horrible. But by the time I was 9, I was better than the 10 and 12 years old. By the time I was 10, I was better than the 12-year-olds, right? So there was a method to my grandfather's madness. Rest in peace, and I love him for that, right? So I'm always for the health and the safety of the players. But bro, if you go look at the guys who were making these, we want to play, tweets and talking about the safety, go look at their Instagrams, go look at their Twitters, and you tell me what you see. A lot of those guys, they were out training with other guys who were not regularly tested. So what is that? You're not being safe. What else are you doing? You're doing it for free. You fucking idiot. You're doing it for free. So when it comes to making millions of dollars, now you want to worry about safety? But when you were doing it for free, with your guys just out on the field and, having fun, it wasn't about safety then. But when it comes to making millions, now we got to be safe. Man, miss me with that bullshit. One thing I hate is hypocrites. I do not like hypocrites. Now, if you're one of those guys who were posting and saying it's about the player's safety, and you look at his Instagram and his Twitter, and he's just been at home chilling with his family and training by himself and his personal trainer, that guy's about safety. That guy's about safety. To these fucking guys who were out with 10, 12, 15 guys training with a cameraman taping their fucking workouts, don't come and tell me that it's about safety, bro, because that's bullshit. It wasn't. It's about the fucking money. You're mad because the new NFL CBA says that you used to be able to give back money. You used to get fined $40,000 a day. Now it's $50,000 a day. The NFL used to always be able to give those players back the money. Now they can't. It's in the new CBA. You get fined $50,000 a day when you miss camp, and you're not going to get the fucking money back. So those older guys who make a lot of money, they're like, well, we could just sit out, right? And the NFL reminded the NFLPA, you might want to look at the CBA. And they looked at it, and they were fucking hot. That's what it was. It was cry wolf. That's all it was. So don't give me this safety bullshit, because that's not what it was about. It was also about guaranteed money. They want guaranteed money to where if they get the coronavirus, they're guaranteed money. Sorry, guys. You guys signed a new CBA. Deal with it. It is what it is. I do not feel sorry for well-informed people who were well-informed about the situation that they were putting themselves into. When you look into those contracts, I guarantee you there was a lot of lawyers and a lot of people in the room when it came to that CBA, when they overlooked that CBA offering and they agreed to it and they signed it. So don't give me this bull crap, bro. Don't give me that. You know what I'm saying? Don't give me that, right? So at the end of the day, I support Dre Greenlaw, but hey, it's not guaranteed, bro. this is a good team. This is a Super Bowl ready team. And Joe Walker and Aziz Al-Shire, those guys are going to come ready to play. You're not guaranteed to be back on this roster, Greenlaw. You might want to rethink what you're going to do this season. That's all I want to say. It's going to be a very controlled environment. Everybody will be tested. What you're going to do, I support you in whatever you do, but you might be missing your opportunity. You never know what's going to happen. So with that being said, man, I felt like it was only right to come back on today. Stephanie was an awesome guest, but she was having some bad connectivity problems. And the service was going in and out, and we just had a lot of mishaps. And I like to give everybody who supports Niners all day the best freaking content possible, right? And if I don't do that, I feel like shit. Me and Tony had talked last night, and we were actually going to do a show last night, right? But, some stuff came up, and I'm not going to discuss, what's going on, but some stuff came up that Tony had to handle. And, all I have to say is that our families are the most important things to us, right? And something came up where it was time to handle business, and he had to take care of his family, right? So, I'm just happy that you guys came here today and rocked out with me, because I felt like yesterday I did a horrible job, right? And to all the people out there who support us, man, we really appreciate you guys. It's an awesome feeling when you can get on here and you can have hundreds of eyes looking at you at one time, who support you and take the time out of their day just to listen to you talk 49ers football. It is freaking amazing. We have some really good stuff coming up. Like I said, man, there are going to be certain people who will have more opportunities to win the drawing for the Bryant Young autograph picture that you guys seen, and it's certified, because there's a lot of names that's in this chat right now who are here all the time, right? And it would be a horrible thing for us to pick somebody's name out of the hat who we've probably seen one or two times, right? So don't be one of those people who come in here, when we have an episode and we say, hey, we're at 950 subs, we only need 50 more subs, and then like and subscribe and start commenting, because you're probably not going to be the person that's going to get picked, right? The people who are here on a regular basis, those are the people that are probably going to have more names in the hat, because depending on how many times that we keep track, because we're keeping track on how many times people are here, right? So the more times you're here, you're probably going to get your name tossed in the hat, 3 or 4 times, right? Because you've been here more. Everybody's going to get their name in the hat, but it's all going to depend on who's been supporting our content from day one. And I want to send special shout outs to David Yang, to Sin. Sin is always here. Danny, Ant-Man Felix, Mariah Lee, you're always here. Shout out to Al. Richard, I've seen you here quite a bit. In Niner Drag, you're always here, bro. Brody A's always here. Kamaru Edwards, bro, I've seen you here a lot. West Coast, that's my guy. Like, we've been arguing back and forth for years on Niners, all like nothing but Niners. So he's always here. Let's see who else. My boy JD, you know what I'm saying? Like, shout out to the people who always continuously support us. Ant-Man Phoenix, yeah, I have seen you here a lot. Shout out to Nate. Who else? Let's go. Agent Mosey. I've seen you popping in lately, bro. We appreciate your support, man. To Sean Sheffer, bro. I've seen you here a few times. Like, we appreciate all of the support from you guys, bro, because it makes a difference. Because there's so much crazy shit going on in the world right now, to where you never know what people have going on in their personal world, and they could be doing a lot of other things. But when you guys sit here and you choose to spend your time with us, man, it makes all the difference in the world. And I'm so appreciative of that. Like, we work hard at this shit. Shout out to Nick Quirk. I think we're going to have Nick on pretty soon. I'm going to be getting in touch with you, JD, bro, because we need to have you on for another episode too. But with that being said, you guys go check out Nothing But Niners. They will be on today at 4:00. It's going to be a good show. I like to support all of my brothers who I've been supporting before I started doing this, and those are my guys. So y'all check them out at 4:00. It's going to be a pretty good show. They got some good shit to talk about, and just stay tuned in. Like I said, like, subscribe, interact with us, and you're going to have a chance to win that Brian Young jersey. We're going to do it at 1,000 subs. Also, we're probably going to do a jersey too. Probably going to do a KB sign jersey, right? So you guys stay tapped in. Slick68, I see you, bro. You've been here a lot. Tony Two-Tone, 49er faithful, bro. Thank you for tapping in. I haven't never seen you, but you're here right now, and we appreciate that, bro. With that being said, man, we appreciate you guys. We love you guys. We will probably be back with another show, I would say tomorrow, maybe the day after. I don't know. We're going to plan it out. I mean, you guys will know in due time. You guys probably know within the next day or two. So love you guys, man. You guys have a safe, blessed day, and wear your fucking mask. Do not be one of the Karens or you know what I'm saying, or that crazy shit that they're posting. Don't be one of those people, bro. Like, just wear your mask. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be okay. Whenever I go to the store, I'm there for 10 minutes. Unless I'm with my significant other and she likes to look around more and like just grab random shit and say, I gotta do this and that, and we're there for 30, 45 minutes. But when I go to the store, I'm in and out 10 or 15 minutes. If you can't put on a fucking mask for 10 or 15 minutes, you need to sit in the corner and sit yourself in timeout and just stare at the fucking wall. Like, that's stupid, right? Everybody is affected by this pandemic. So be safe. Love you guys. And this time, I'm really going. I'm out. All right? Peace out. Click, click. Bam.